to
You?
meet you.
Yes, most excellent, most excellent. Beena, are you here?
Yes,
I know
hello,
you've
Sue.
been.
Hello, Cheryl.
This is Beena,
Hello,
and
Beena.
Yeah.
this is
And you're
Donna.
lucky we're
Donna's
on.
on.
Donna's here too, so you got the whole team here today. That's fantastic. I'll
Wonderful.
get right into it. I don't know how much time you have, Cheryl. And you know we're connecting because we're going to be doing the feeling and believing course. Yes,
Yes.
okay. That's what we're about. All right, brilliant. So thank you first of all for coming and wanting to do it. This is very key that you do want to do it. That's a huge deal. So that's very awesome. Most excellent. And what I wanted to explain is how, because the program is not necessarily just about the content. We tend to assume this, we tend to believe this. We go into a course, it's about what they're saying, what's written there, what they're teaching you. Not the way we do it. We do things very differently, right? So, yes, the content itself is valuable, but what's really valuable is the process of how you do the course. I
Okay.
cannot emphasize this enough. Because the process applies to regardless of what course it is. We can do this with learning how to fly fish, doesn't matter. We can do it with any topic. Doesn't matter the topic. It's valuable, the topic, yes, but it's not the bigger deal. What we are looking to do is retrain your brain in how you think, but not according to how we think. You are going to retrain your own brain according to what you yourself feel is really valuable and meaningful and purposeful and significant. That's the process, right? So we
Okay.
have some strategies and techniques that we're going to share. And this is the key point, and I'm going to elaborate on those in a moment. But I really want to make this very clear that we aren't selling you any system. We're not telling you how to behave. We're not going to teach you anything. You're going to connect to your own moreness, even moreness that you weren't necessarily fully aware of. But you know, sometimes we know stuff, but we don't know it consciously. Like if you say to somebody, "Oh, what's important to you?" They say, "Oh, I don't know." But you say, "Is goodness important to you?"
Mm,
Cheryl, is goodness important to you? Yes.
absolutely.
Is
Absolutely.
honestly important to you?
Yeah.
Absolutely, you say. Is integrity important to you? You see my point? Two
Yes.
seconds ago, when I said, what's important to you? Like, well, okay, not you maybe, but most people. But when you ask specific questions, oh, yes, yes, yes. So we can recognize easier than we can articulate. So this is exactly the process that we are going to use and leverage when it comes to you connecting to your mourners. We're just going to make it obvious to you, and then you get to choose. Like I just made it obvious what's important to you, right? This is our process. So it's a very powerful process, very powerful process. That's why we don't really teach anything. We just connect you to what's important to you, and that leveraging, that emphasis. You, oh yeah, oh yeah, and then it sits in and it sinks in. So we leverage emphasis, and the way we're going to do this is through the techniques of how you do the course. And so the first thing you do when you get to the slide is you're going to do a repeat back of the slide. And a repeat back is just simply, it's very basic, very simple. You're just going to tell us in your own words what the slide says. So,
Okay.
like in this case, the very first slide is a quote. You're just going to say it in your own words. Oh, okay. So that means this is what I understand it to mean. Okay, yeah. And you just tell us. That's it. Very basic. We're not asking you to interpret. We're not asking you to say, do you agree or disagree? Is it valuable, useful? None of that. Not in the repeat back. The repeat back is just for you to check that you understand what's there by
Okay.
saying it in your own words. This is it. It's just a check, just a test,
Okay.
right? But of course, there's more. There's always more. Everything we do, there's always more. When you explain something in your own words, this is you now expressing it. And when you need to express it in your own words, you have to think about it, right? If you just repeat what's written there, like kids, they can regurgitate sometimes word for word what you just said, but they haven't really understood it or they don't want to. They just repeat that. So, but when you put it in your own words, you have to actually think about it. And this is what we're after. We want you to think about things. Really think about things. So the first thing is you're checking your comprehension, and we can see that we're on the same page because sometimes we don't know. People perceive things very differently. You've probably seen this. You explain something to somebody and you ask them, do you understand? And they say yes, right? And then you hear them go and tell somebody else what you just said. And it's like, hey, whoa, stop the lorry. I didn't say that. You got it all wrong, right? It happens. They thought they understood, but then when you actually saw a demonstration of their understanding, when they actually had to express it, it came out completely all wrong, right? So we're just checking. We're on the same page, right? That's the repeat back, the purpose of the repeat back. So that's
Okay.
the first thing you're going to do. And in your notes, okay, slide 1, repeat back. Then you're going to do a takeaway. So I'm going to send you an email with all of this in.
Okay.
So then the second thing you're going to do is to do a takeaway. And the takeaway here is, okay, now I've checked that I understand what's going on. So the very next thing is I'm going to say, what was valuable for me in this? That's the takeaway. What was useful for me? What can I take away from this and go and apply and use for the purposes of changing, understanding, developing, whatever, right? What is useful and valuable to me? There's one other thing with a takeaway too. That's the one part of a takeaway. The other one is we want to hear from you what's just coming up in you. Because sometimes I'm listening to something and something else comes up in me that's completely unrelated that I have where is this coming from? Write those down. Whatever
Okay.
comes up in you, make a note, write it down. That stuff's valuable as gold. But don't think you're going to remember it, because you're not. Because that
Okay.
stuff's like dreams. It comes from a different part of your brain. And
Okay.
much like the dreams, if you don't write it down or make a note, you forget it. So it's very important to write those down. And they're
Okay.
very valuable stuff that comes up in you. Very, very important. So this is your takeaways, your understanding, your insights onto it, what came up in you, what it led to, additional thoughts. You say, wait a second, this made me think, and wow, then it made me think of this, and then I went into that. That's it. We want to hear all of this. We are really trying to get you to think things through, think them deeply, go all the way to the end, to explore, to go down the side tunnels. That's it. Really get to think about stuff, because this leads us to truly, truly understanding. Because the points in the course, they aren't points of belief, they're points of self-evident sensibilities. And they just, it's like goodness. Goodness is a self-evident sensibility. I don't have to explain to you why goodness is good. It's self-evident, right?
Right.
I don't have to know. So this is the thing. But in order to really use goodness, this is not always that easy. Because look at doing good. How much doing good sometimes causes more trouble it's helping, right? So we have to think about stuff. We have to really, really understand it. This is the point of your takeaway. Get to that
Okay.
deep, deep, deep understanding. Now we say, okay, we're all about application. This is one thing to remember about everything we do. Every single thing is geared towards application. Because without application, it's all meaningless. Doesn't mean a hill of beans. You can understand things thoroughly and absolutely and conclusively and have a big epiphany and be struck from lightning 100 different ways. If you don't use it, means nothing, right?
Right.
So everything boils down to application. So all that understanding that's come from the takeaway, the thinking it through, and our discussions on Zoom, how do we really make this useful in a very simple and easy way? This is our next thing that we do, the dictionary of power. You take all that understanding, think of it like a pyramid of understanding, a pyramid of exploration, pyramid of knowledge. And,
Okay.
and and we said, we've got this whole pyramid, we fleshed it out, we filled it up, we filled it up. And as we keep going, we get the details at the bottom, it gets a little bit more abstract, and then we get to see it from an overview perspective. As we go on, we put a capstone on it. We say this whole discussion was about, let's say, thoughtfulness, just for argument's sake. Okay. Wow. 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 A lot about thoughtfulness. Or in this case, we're talking about takeaways. Wow. So now you understand what a takeaway is. You put that capstone on. This whole discussion was about takeaways. That's all you need to remember. You don't even need to really remember it. Once you really understand what takeaway is, when I say takeaway, you don't have to recall all that detail. You've already got it packaged there. The whole lot comes together with that capstone, with that key, with that power term, right?
Okay.
With a label. It's a tag. And as a tag, everything comes with it. So this is what you put into your dictionary of power. Those capstone terms that really make a difference to you. Power conceptions, in other words. Yeah? So you say, okay, we had a big discussion about hearing. We had a big discussion about integrity or impeccability or whatever the thing is, feeling and believing. You put that capstone into your dictionary of power, because those are the things that you're going to keep elaborating. We're going to expand on that over time. but you want them in there because they reminders for you. Oh, I've been forgetting about this, whatever it is. They're the things that are truly, truly valuable. And just by writing it in there, and it's a dictionary of power. So just by writing it in there, we get to use them. We make them part of our vocabulary. And this is the magic. That's why it's a dictionary of power. When you use those entries in your dictionary of power, and they become part of your vocabulary, you, because you're an honest person, or at least I'm assuming you are, yes?
Yeah, I try to
Yeah,
be.
exactly. So how are you going to use words that you don't understand, that you don't mean? You can't. You'd be a phony, and you'd be a BSer, right?
Sort of.
Ah,
But I'm a
so if
Libra.
you,
I'm a Libra. So Libras are kind of liars a little bit.
well,
We lie to keep the peace sometimes.
but for yourself though, you want to use, when you use these terms, the more you use them, the more you're going to try and make them true, because there's stuff that you feel is valuable. There's stuff that you believe in. There's stuff that you think is sensible, right? So the more you use it, the more you're going to automatically try and implement it, and it works that way. The stuff you talk about is the stuff you make true. It's just how our brains are set up, because we're inherently honest, right? Doesn't matter what we're saying to others. It's for ourselves now. We don't care about others here. It's for ourselves.
Right.
It's self-honesty.
Okay.
Self-honesty and honesty very different, just by the way. So I'm talking about self-honesty and not honesty.
Mm,
I know many people who are very honest, but they
yeah.
are not self-honest.
Yeah. That's the more
I know
difficult
lots of
one.
people like this.
Yeah.
Yes, it's very difficult. It's very difficult. Yeah. So this is the key, the power of the dictionary of power. That you are going to use this as the key, the capstones, the leveragings, conceptions that you're going to put inside you, use in your language, and automatically start to apply it. Right?
Okay.
You've probably already seen with Sue how her language has changed, right?
Yes, absolutely.
She sounds different. Sounds like an egghead now, right? Sue's like, what? That was perfect expression, Sue. That was perfect. But it's powerful, and of course, you also see the phenomenal magical changes in Sue, and it's Sue doing it to Sue. It doesn't come from me.
Yeah.
Sue doing it to Sue. She did it
Yeah.
to herself. She's doing it to herself.
Sue was
She's
always
using
very
it.
cautious with her words, and I believe now she's a lot more deliberate, if I can say that.
Exactly. Thank you. That's a most insightful insight into Sue. Sue was cautious with her
Very
words, but
cautious.
now
Yeah.
she is deliberate.
Mhm.
That is the biggest compliment you can give Sue, pretty much, to say she's being deliberate. This is our intent in the bigger program that we did with Sue and in the Way of Impeccability and the Mourners Project. It is our intent to acquire deliberate living. If you're not living deliberately, you're kind of wasting your life, right? You just willy-nilly, you're just a leaf in the wind. There's no power, there's no magic, there's no potency, there's no realness, and no real feeling if you're not living deliberately. So being deliberate is huge. So what you said for Sue there, thank you. Big compliment for Sue. And very true too. And you see the power of it in Sue's changes. I mean, Sue's a whole different person, yes?
Yes.
Now, it's not that Sue was a knucklehead and a fool and a nincompoop and a horrible person
No,
before. No,
absolutely
but
not.
it wasn't activated necessarily, right?
Mhm.
You always saw that moreness in Sue, right? Now Sue's
Absolutely.
living that moreness. She's using it. She's applying it. Application. It was always there. All it had to do was just be activated and connected to. And how did we do this? Through this process. The takeaways, the repeat backs, the dictionary of power, and then doing the tasks and exercises. Of course, it was kind of a duh to do those, but do them fully, do them appropriately, do them all the way as best you can. Because again, it's about that immersion. And that immersion, it retrains the brain because it's emphasis. Emphasis literally rewires your brain, by the way. Literally. When you emphasize something, the node in your brain expands, and then when it expands, it connects to other nodes and it rewires the brain. That's why everybody remembers where they were on 9/11 or some really super traumatic thing. It's emphasis. It's not that it was traumatic, it was emphasized because it happens with positive stuff too. You remember, your first child being born or losing your virginity or whatever. Emphasis rewires the brain. So this is what we are looking to do, to get you immersed, and through emphasis, the brain gets rewired. And that's all there is to it, really. Sorry,
Okay.
I get so excited, and then it's a bit of an anticlimax when I get to the end. So just to recap, and I'll send it all to you in an email. You're going to do the repeat backs. You're going to do the
Okay.
takeaways. You're going to keep making entries into your dictionary of power, of those power conceptions and power terms as they come up. And then you're going to do the tasks and exercises. And that's all there is to it. And then
Okay.
the other thing is we're going to come on Zoom. So you're going to do this on your own. And then when we come on Zoom for, hopefully we can do this in 2 sessions a week, 2 2-hour sessions, because that's optimum.
Okay.
And when we come on Zoom, you're gonna share your repeat backs with us. You're gonna share your takeaways, and then we're gonna discuss and get into it in detail. Because there's always more. So you're gonna think you're gonna add, but there's always more. And we do this with you. You're not doing it from us. We do it with you. So we go through the program with you. We discuss it, and this is a joyful, magical thing. We have great fun doing this, right? It never gets old, right, Sue?
No, never. You can hear it over,
Yes.
over and over with different participants,
Exactly.
and it's
Exactly.
always different.
Exactly.
That's the fascinating part. It's very
Exactly.
fascinating.
And
Gives you different
I won't even
perspectives.
ask. Yeah, exactly. I won't even ask Beena and Sue and Beena and Donna if they feel this way, because I already know there's always more for us. So it's a very potent. So on that note, let's organize this real quick here. And while I bring up my calendar, you have any questions for Beena and Donna
No,
of any kind?
not at this time.
No questions, not anything.
No, I'm taking it all in. I'm still in absorption mode.
All right. I mean, you had a freebie there. You could have asked them. I don't know what's the color of their hair or something. I don't know. You could ask anything.
Oh,
Yes, free questions. Free
no,
questions.
it's very nice to meet everybody, and I'm looking forward to talking more with everyone and sharing some of these discoveries.
Brilliant.
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll share with you.
Anything you want to add to that, Beena?
Nothing,
Donna?
because it is all about this takeaway and repeat backs. Repeat backs were a bit tricky for most of us. That what is repeat back? Repeat back is just that I'm telling you what you are asking to me. That's it. What you are saying. This is what you are saying actually. Like, okay, I'm just if you just share your name with me, and I will say, oh, this is your name. So I will repeat your name. That's it. I'm not adding anything from my side. This is the repeat back only. That was a tricky part for me to understand in the beginning. So that's why I'm sharing this.
Okay.
Make it
That's a good
more
point.
easy.
It's a good. You actually touch on a really interesting thing, Beena. When somebody tells you their name, repeat it back to them. If you want to remember it. Very good example of the value of a repeat back. We think we remember that name. What about 2 minutes later? What was your name again? We've forgotten. Repeat it back to them, and you typically tend to remember it. So, just as a little aside, here is your example. It's actually really potent.
Good tip.
Yeah. So there's one extra value to the repeat backs. There are many values, and I'm not going into the full detail because these are all almost their philosophies, really. Takeaway, one of the sessions in Way of Impeccability is the philosophy of takeaway. But likewise with the repeat back, one of the values you get from repeating back is you get to hear yourself.
Mm.
Oh, oh, I didn't realize I felt that way about it. Oh, now I see. Oh, just by saying something that you read, you realize, I didn't quite get it when I read it. Now I see, oh, it's different, especially when you have to put it in your own words. It's very
So
powerful.
is it possible to overthink it?
Yes,
Because
I guess it
I've been
is.
accused of that many times.
Yes. All right. Now we have a bit of a beef with overthinking. So we get a little bit, if you're overthinking, no such thing really. There's inefficient and ineffective thinking, yes. There's looping thinking, yes. There's knucklehead thinking, yes. But overthinking, no. That just means you're not doing it efficiently and effectively. So do it thoroughly, do it appropriately, and you'll get there. And this is exactly what we are going to do. Through the repeat backs, through the takeaways, through putting it into a conception of power, or multiple sometimes, we are thinking effectively. We can't overthink. We're going to get to a conclusion. And most overthinking, when you overthink things, are you looking to get resolution? Are you looking for application, or are you just thinking about it?
Well, when I get into this overthinking mode, I tend to get myself to a point of confusion. I really don't know when I give the consideration and I give it space and I give it time, and then I lose track of why I started my process.
There you go. There you go. So We'll get to that, or we can. That's actually covered in Way of Impeccability. The very, very first session, Module 1, Session 1, is called Clarity of Intent.
Okay.
Like you said, your overthinking wasn't because you weren't making enough effort. You were just making ineffective effort because you didn't know what you were doing. You
Okay.
didn't have focus. You didn't have clarity of intent. You didn't know what you were going. But
Right.
when you have clarity of intent and you know exactly what you're doing, now your thinking is effective, it's pertinent, it's relevant. We will be doing this automatically in the live, the Zoom sessions. When we
Yes.
go over the repeat backs, when we go over the takeaways, you'll see the style of the discussion always is focused on an intent, on a focus, on a purpose. So we tend to automatically start thinking more effectively. And when you hear yourself, because what we are doing is we're going to be discussing your thinking.
Yeah. That's
Yeah,
exciting for me.
yeah,
That's
it
exciting
is
for me.
exciting. And,
To think
and
that I would
I saw
actually
the
get some traction in
exactly,
the
and there
work
was
that
a
I do for me.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And in your expression, there was a little bit of like an alert, like little tinge maybe of trepidation. Appropriate. Yes, to
Yes.
discuss your thinking. It's no simple matter. When when do we get this opportunity? Almost never, right?
Mhm.
So there's a little bit of caution in there, which is appropriate. But our space, our forum, this is what we really make an effort to do. And you'll see. So on our side, our facilitation is to make you comfortable with sharing your thinking, to really let you know, and you'll get this idea very, very quickly. Hey, wow, here's a place where I can share every single thought I have, and I can share it awkwardly. I can share it uncomfortably. I can stumble a bit. I can express it poorly, and I can say, wait, I can do better, and take much time. I tease Donna because she does that every now and then. And it's beautiful. She says, wait, I can do better. And, and she, oh, we don't always see her, but I can just see her thinking away there. And then she comes back and she re-expresses it. She can do that here. She feels comfortable. And we love it. It's just the appropriate forum. So here's where you can think all your thoughts. Even if they don't make sense, you can think them. And then, now that I say that, back to drawing board. What were you thinking, Cheryl? Okay, well, that's the thing. It's magical. It's a very magical process, very empowering, and of course, you
I
get to
would like
practice.
to share
Please,
and
please.
piggyback on what you were just saying, how magical it is. In that, when you were asking if there's anything Beena and I wanted to share, this is something that came up. In this community, and as it relates to the takeaways, it is within this group that you will experience freedom of expression. There absolutely is no right and wrong within this community. So when you're doing takeaways, it's going to be what comes up within you and what's meaningful for you. And to have the freedom of expression within a group of individual people that are open and allowing that space, that alone is such a gift and blessing from my perspective. And that is what I found within this group. And it's just priceless.
Donna, would you say we're interested in your misunderstandings, your misbeliefs, your misexpressions? Do we take those seriously? Do we listen to them?
I feel as though as part of the progression, of course, they come out and will continue, I feel, it's just an innate part of the progression that everyone takes. So they show themselves in a way that they're not judged. They're
Exactly.
just open and looked at and accepted. And
Exactly.
then based on how comfortable you will feel, your sharing also expands and evolves. And
Exactly.
just the
Exactly.
space of being able to have that look into yourself is extremely valuable. Whatever you extrapolate from that progression,
Exactly.
it can only be valuable and relevant and pertinent to you, which is
We get to
what this is all
explore.
about. Get to
Interesting.
explore.
Yeah.
in a safe space.
You know, and in my long-term relationship with Sue, she was always able to absorb what you said without judgment. I don't know that I'm good at that. I need to learn how to take from what I'm hearing and not come back with judgment. I don't want to be
Interesting.
that person.
Interesting. Interesting. I'm going to ask you a very direct question. I'm going to make an assumption, but the power of the question you'll see the logic for the assumption. Why do you feel you need to judge yourself so much?
Oh,
All right, don't answer. I'm just
oh
jumping a little bit here. Instead of going a long way around, I went right there.
you
Right?
did go right there, didn't you?
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
We'll get into it. We'll get into it. We'll get into it. This course, this course that we're going to do. This course is exactly, precisely to answer that question. I love you, Donna.
Why do I?
Donna. Yeah, it's exactly to answer that question.
Okay.
Exactly to
Why
answer
do you
that question.
feel and believe that? Why do you feel and believe
Exactly. Exactly. What supports it? What's the logic behind it? What do you think justifies and rationalizes this, etc., etc.? We're going to dig into that to say, oh, I get it. And we're going to see how it comes about and how it works. And there you go, man. Problem solved. It's very simple, but very, very, very ridiculously profound.
that?
Right.
So I do want to make that point. We're going to deal with stuff it's kind of a trivial point in a way. When you see it, it's like, oh, duh. Well, that's kind of obvious. Yeah, it is, but it's also ridiculously life-changingly profound.
Okay.
That's important. That's important. Not to minimize it because it seems so simple. Of course, all truth is simple when you see it. That's the nature of it. But the problem is we tend to disregard the profound because it's simple. It's not. Yes, it's simple, but it's not necessarily, doesn't make it any less profound. And we're going to use that because it's so profound. One simple, tiny little thing can change your whole life. Right? You've probably seen those nice fancy wristwatches in the old days, right? Not the digital ones, the mechanical ones, right? All that gears and all that stuff inside there, right?
Right.
And you just take out the tiniest little gear. Just remove that. What happens to the clock?
It doesn't work.
Stops. Fine. Now you look at that little gear and you say, oh, this is a very simple little thing, right? Put it back in the watch and the watch starts working again. Oh, profound. Right? Simple things make a big difference. Now,
Yeah.
not all of us is the clock, but parts of us are those stop clocks. And those simple things, when we see it, we recognize it, we can put it back in, slot it in, use it, apply it, get that clock ticking and working again.
Wonderful.
Or in the case of self-judgment, we can get that clock to stop working. We might want to remove that gear. Either way. And I'm making the point that simple can be ridiculously life-changingly profound.
Yeah.
It's very cool. Very cool.
Even the simplicity, Cheryl, of the repeat backs, how powerful they are, and a gift to learn how to use them in everyday life. You know, you're having a conversation with Greg, which is her husband, and you say something to him and he interprets it completely different. And you say, that's not what I said. You know, so again, the importance of making sure that other person, and it's to ask them, what did I just say? Please tell me back what I said. Otherwise, there is right out of the gate an initial flaw in the understanding.
Right, and a disconnect. Absolutely, absolutely.
And this escalates and
there have
compounds.
been many times when my response was, "Is that what you heard me say?
Yeah.
Is that what you heard? Because that's not what I meant." So yeah, that comes up a lot. Yeah.
Useful too. Use the repeat back in the other way. So Greg says something and it's like, what? Bloody hell? The hell you come with this from, fool? Oh, hang on. Sorry. Let me see if I understood what you said there correctly. And then you repeat what he said. So you're saying this and this. If I understand it correctly, you're saying this and this and that. Now, let's say he did say call you a fool or whatever, and he wasn't being nice. it gives him opportunity. Well, okay, that didn't come out so good. All right, let me rephrase that. Let me say it again. Gives pause, gives space, gives you also time in the repeat back to consider your response. Now, okay, initially, well, I heard you calling me a fool, but actually now when I repeat it back, well, okay, it's just my sensitivity and not really. And now I can chill a little bit and come at it more appropriately. So repeat backs, especially in interpersonal relationships, are very, very valuable, very, very useful. They buy us a bit of time, and it gives us that power pause. There's a nice example of a real entry into your dictionary of power pause. In addition to already, we've added repeat back and takeaway. Yes, for instance, and capital U, understanding. We want this. We don't care about right or wrong, agree or disagree. We couldn't care two hoots about those. Makes no difference to me. I just want to understand. That's it. Once I understand, right and wrong becomes irrelevant. Doesn't really matter. Doesn't matter. Understanding is the key. Right?
Yeah, and think
Especially
about the power
when
of
we
that
have a
statement.
judgment mindset. Say again, Sue?
I said, think about the power of that statement there.
Yeah.
It's not about
Transformative.
agree and disagree. It's about the intent is to really to understand, no
Exactly.
matter who you're
Exactly.
dealing with,
Exactly.
whether it's at work, whether
Exactly.
it's at home.
Exactly.
Exactly. Once you understand,
Exactly.
agree and
Yep,
disagree
yep,
is
yep,
irrelevant.
Yep. You want freedom from judgment? Understand. When you really, really understand somebody's behavior, forgiveness, for instance, what's to forgive? I understand you. I understand why you did it. I get it. That's it. Understanding gives us that peace. Okay, I get it. I understand. I can move on. So we don't have understanding and we're getting stuck in this agree, disagree, right, wrong. Just understand. Yeah. I don't think the lion is wrong for wanting to eat me. I understand. That's what he does. Okay, I climb up in the tree. I get out of the way. I don't think he's wrong for doing it. I don't judge him for doing it, right?
Right.
Understanding. It's very simple with the lion. When we apply that same logic to people, not so simple. But when we really understand where they're coming from, they're doing it because they have a misbelief, they have a feeling, they have a rational. Again, we're going to get into this in the program. Really, really understand why things are, why we do what we do, why we feel the way we do, why we believe the way we do. Seeing that loop. That's what's called feeling and believing. It's very powerful. Very, very, very cool. All right. So since we, I want to save this for when we get into the program. Let me screen share so you can see my calendar and we can find times for you. So we can do this now. When you look at the times here, the times that are on these blocks, these are my summer times because I'm in Arizona, so it's a little different here. So right now, this is actually 3 to 4 over here. So all these are we're now in a different time. So you basically need to use this column on the left, which is my time, but yours will be 2 hours on that, right? So like right now, we're in this slot here with Donna, which is 5 to 7 currently. Even though it says 4 to 6. So just tell me when, like, okay, so this slot is open, and this would be 2. Well, all these slots are open. I don't know if you want to get up at 3 o'clock in the morning for you, but so this slot here would be 5 o'clock in the morning for you. These 2 hours. This would be 5 to 7 your time. Too early?
No, I usually get up for work at 5. But I could just ask for the next bunch of Tuesdays off. That's all.
Well, there you go.
Do this.
Okay.
Well, it's a part-time. It's a part-time position. I can pick my hours.
All right. Okay. So that would be really great if we can do that, because that would be 2 o'clock. So this would be this slot here is that wouldn't be 3 o'clock your time. That would be 1 o'clock your time. That's too early.
No, that wouldn't work.
No, is that backwards? It's not making sense.
Other way. I know I'm getting backwards. No. 3 o'clock my time is 5 o'clock your time. So this is 5 o'clock your time right here. Yes.
No, aren't you 3 hours difference right now?
In summer we're 3 hours. In winter 2 hours. Yeah. Because we Arizona. We don't change the time. It makes it a bit confusing. You'd think it'd make it simpler. But
so Tuesdays, our time, Cheryl, you would be 5 to 7.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there's nothing later than that, right? We have to go super.
All right, so let's discard. Sorry, I'm sorry,
After
my bad.
Janelle.
I thought you were happy with that time. So we have Janelle, and then we can do this time. Sherry's not coming right now, so we
Yeah.
can do it
So you
at
can do 7 to 9.
That's
Our
beautiful.
time.
yeah. So no. This would be 9 your time.
Oh,
It's
9
this
to
plus
11.
2.
9 to
Yeah,
11.
9 to 11.
That's good.
9
9 to
11
11
on
better.
Tuesday.
9 to 11 is good. Yes, that's wonderful.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right.
What
All
about
right.
a second day? And
Okay.
give
Let me
yourself a
first
couple-
let me first edit this so I just get it right here. Okay.
Yeah.
So
And you want a couple days in between, Cheryl, so you can kind of do the work
Yeah.
on the
Right.
slides and so
Right.
forth.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
2,
and
3
I'm
days.
Fridays are good days for me too, if you have anything on a Friday.
Okay.
I don't know right now. I doubt if
Saturday.
we have on Friday. Friday, except a very early slot. Fridays is kind of a big busy day. We have lots going on Fridays.
Okay, okay.
So that early slot, which would again be 5 to 7 on Fridays, that's available.
Oh, yeah.
Too early?
Yeah, a little. I mean, just for
Little.
me to be lucid and
Okay, then what about
Saturday?
Thursdays?
Saturdays. Or
Thursdays or
Yeah.
Saturdays. Yeah, the only bad days for me are Mondays and Wednesdays. I can't really get
What
much
about
flexibility.
Thursdays in the same slot that we had,
9 to
which
11.
is 9 to
That's-
11 on Thursday?
Okay, that's perfect. I like
There
that.
we go. All right,
Perfect.
and then it's the same. Then it's
Perfect.
Tuesdays and Thursdays, 9 to 11 your time. Perfect.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Most excellent, Cheryl. Okay.
And you
And
can
one.
this Tuesday work, correct?
Yes.
What's that, hon?
Absolutely.
This Tuesday?
Next Tuesday.
This coming
Yes,
Tuesday?
but
Okay.
that Thursday is that thing with the rent people.
Okay. What time
At-
is that?
That's. Could you excuse me for just a moment? I'll go check.
No
that.
problem. No problem. Yeah, I mean, if this particular Thursday we have to adjust a little bit, that's okay. We have
Yeah,
a bit of
yeah,
time
that's
after
fine.
it, so.
She has a court date.
Yeah, and then if need be, she can try and come on earlier if Ryan's there. Okay.
Yeah, that's actually good, guys.
Ah.
Oh,
Yeah,
perfect.
that appointment's not till 1:30.
Oh, perfect.
Okay. Okay. Perfect. I love it. So, and then it's easy to remember as well. It's 9 to 11 on Tuesday, 9 to 11 on Thursday. Very easy.
Perfect.
So next thing, what I'll do is, Sue already shared your email with me. I'll send you an email with the login for the program where you can access it online, and I'll give you a recap again of all the repeat backs and takeaways and all that. And
Okay.
so you'll have the login info, and then I'll also put the Zoom link in there. So you've got it all in one place. In other words, so
Perfect.
it's the same Zoom link, which makes it very easy. Yeah.
Okay.
Most
Okay,
perfect.
good.
Most perfect. Any questions before we go?
Nope, not right now. Looking forward to it.
I have a question. Are you
Yes.
excited?
I am excited.
Yeah,
I am
I can
very
see it.
excited.
I can feel it. I have to ask. Very cool. I do want to make one quick little point though, just in terms of with Greg. Feel free to involve Greg as much or as little as you like. I do always find it very useful and very potent to involve your partner in when you're doing
Okay.
something like this. Just
Okay.
at least it's some remote way, because otherwise you shift and they don't, and it can be a problem.
Okay.
It's a big deal.
Got
It's
it.
a big deal. It's a very
Yeah.
big deal. A big deal. All right, brilliant. Bye-bye, Cheryl. We'll see you
Bye
on
now.
Tuesday.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
But you just hit leave. You just hit the leave button and then you're out. And yeah. And that's all good.
Okay.
There you
All
go.
right.
All right, brilliant.
Bye.
Brilliant.
See you later.
Brilliant. Bye-bye,
Bye-bye.
Cheryl. Bye-bye. Very cool. Very
All
cool.
right. I got to run.